Mr. Beast faces backlash for providing 500,000 Africans with clean drinking water. The Washington Times accidentally accuses Steven Crowder of being a transgender child killer. And a pair of climate activists block traffic for the last time. Welcome to the Weekly Roundup, where we cover the most diabolical yet hilarious news of the week. Our top story today: conservative social media personality Steven Crowder has released the leaked manifesto of the female-to-male transgender Nashville shooter who killed 6 members of a Christian school earlier this year.
We are not reporting that information yet because it isn't authenticated.
Exactly.
So we've got a lot more confirmation that we need to do.
And of course, we've been hearing from the victims' parents saying they absolutely do not want this to be released.
That's
so
right.
We're going to continue to follow this, stay on top of it, and bring you the very latest.
Wow, the mainstream media suddenly cares about fact-checking their information. I wonder why that would be. Let's take a quick peek at this manifesto, shall we? I want to kill all you little One page for the manifesto reads, bunch of little with your white privileges. You privileges? What language is that? Honestly, nothing says white privilege like a white girl so severely failed by the system, she can't even spell the word. My second biggest fear is that one day I'll become so mentally deranged that I shoot up a school after leaving behind a manifesto full of spelling and grammatical errors. And my first biggest fear is that one day I'll be misidentified as somebody who's so mentally deranged they shoot up a school after leaving behind a manifesto full of spelling and grammatical errors. Which is exactly what happened to Steven Crowder after he released the unintelligible chicken scratch when the Washington Times tweeted, "Alleged Nashville Manifesto shows killer Steven Crowder targeted little crackers with white privileges." It's an understandable mistake, given that Steven Crowder has dressed up as a woman more times than the shooter. While we're on the topic of white privilege, uber popular YouTuber Mr. Beast has built 100 wells in Africa, an undertaking some are calling disrespectful to Africans. American YouTuber Mr. Beast's latest video, in which he says he built 100 wells across Africa, has drawn a complex response online since it was published on Saturday. Some Kenyan activists and journalists said he has spotlighted the failures of the Kenyan government, while Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson, anticipates that he will be cancelled following the reaction. Saran Kaba Jones, founder and CEO of Face Africa, an organization working to improve water infrastructure and sanitation in sub-Saharan Africa, told CNN, "I've been doing this for 15 years, but we've been struggling to continue to work because funding, awareness, and advocacy all take work." And then she added, "Overnight, this person comes along, who happens to be a white male figure with a huge platform, and all of a sudden he gets all of the attention. It's kind of frustrating, but it's also understanding the nature of how the world is." She's right, you know, the main purpose of philanthropy is the self-gratifying attention it brings you. Africans aren't the only ones with their hands out this week. A climate activist in London has taken a hammer to a $90 million piece of historic artwork this week, a stunt he undertook apparently to get his hand held by a girl for the very first time.
Please go to the next chair, please.
Wow, if that's what an SJW has to do to get his hand held, I wonder what he's got to do to get his hand jobbed. A question these next two climate activists will never know the answer to, as they've pulled their last meaningless stunt for the sake of the weather. An elderly American has been arrested after a gunman was caught on camera walking up to environmental protesters blocking a Panamanian highway Tuesday and blasting 2 of them to death. Disturbing footage showed a man with gray hair and glasses casually approaching the blockade on the Pan American Highway and waving his finger while arguing with the demonstrators before pulling out a gun and opening fire. Police later shared a photo of the suspect handcuffed to a pipe, as he was identified as Kenneth Darlington, 77, a lawyer and professor who holds dual citizenship in the US and Panama. Listen, you may think this is a sad story, but there is a silver lining. They've successfully reduced their carbon emissions to 0. But in all seriousness, this type of vigilantism will become the norm as law enforcement refuse to do their jobs and everyday people are forced to take the law into their own hands. When there's no law and order in a country, human rights begin to look a little different.
Personally, when it comes to rights, I think one of two things is true. I think either we have unlimited rights or we have no rights at all. Personally, I lean toward unlimited rights. I feel, for instance, I have the right to do anything I please. But if I do something you don't like, I think you have the right to kill me. So where are you going to find a fairer deal than that?
Well, George, it depends on who you ask. If I were a Zionist, I would say a fairer deal is that I have the right to do whatever I please, and if anyone has a problem with it, I get to kill them. And if anyone has a problem with that, I get to kill them too. A sentiment our friend Shapiro shared with the world this week when he tweeted, "Once again, the images from Gaza are awful and heartbreaking and entirely the fault of Hamas. The minute Hamas gives up the hostages and surrenders, this is all over. Everyone knows it. And everyone calling for a ceasefire is doing Hamas's dirty work." I'm sorry, did this dude just ask the entire population of the Gaza Strip why they're making Israel hit them?
Get out, get out! Okay, but on my way, I'm gonna be doing this. If you get hit, it's your own fault.
Now that's what I call privilege. And while the rest of the world prepares for World War III, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is shilling vaccines 2020 style as if the entire country hasn't walked out on him, including his wife. A video of Trudeau receiving his COVID booster was posted to Twitter on Wednesday with the caption, "Got my COVID-19 booster and flu shot this week. You should get yours too. To find out why, how, and where you can get your shots, click here. #4Jude for everyone." For those of you who are curious, Jude is a child whose life was cut short after he died from the flu, which is worth mentioning because a whopping 5 children die from the flu in Canada each year, as opposed to sudden infant death syndrome, which claims the lives of 3 Canadian children per week, peaking at 2 to 4 months of age. Right around the time of a baby's first inoculations. I would say that's pretty suspicious, but the brilliant people who believe nothing created the universe have assured us that nothing can also kill your children. Because the only thing more powerful than something is nothing. And political statements on t-shirts, of course. Something Trudeau knows all too well as he pulled this political stunt wearing a t-shirt that says, "Vaccines cause adults." Oops, it looks like you misspelled the word adultery, as the only thing your love affair with Pfizer has caused is your wife's repartnering with a doctor from Ottawa. Looks like she'll be getting injected with more than just the flu shot this holiday season. You know, even if this were true, that vaccines cause adults, you can't make a grown-up without first making a child. And according to this week's news, nobody wants to make one of those with tainted vaccine sperm. The demand for unvaccinated sperm is back in the news this week. The Toronto Sun has reported that more and more women looking to have babies are on the hunt for sperm donors who refuse to get vaccinated for COVID-19. While getting the jab is a must for many, those who scoffed at the idea have crept into the world of sperm donation. Jonathan David Rinaldi, a serial sperm donor who has fathered more than a dozen children in 2 years, noticed a massive increase in requests for sperm from unvaccinated donors. So he decided to split off from the Facebook group Sperm Donation USA to create his own exclusive group. There are almost 250 members in the group, and many have successfully started families, with most donors offering their sperm free of charge. One woman posted a photo of her positive pregnancy test with the caption, "One more farm-raised, not pharma-raised baby on its way." Farm-raised. I'd like to credit myself with that one, as I got this right on the nose back in 2021. What do you think will happen to people like us who didn't get the jab when those people start finding out they may be sterile due to the vaccines? I don't know, man. Maybe we will be like Handmaid's Tale people. I fully believe that any man with unvaccinated sperm, I think that shit will be worth more than gold. I believe men with unvaccinated sperm are either gonna have a lot of fun or not so much fun because they're gonna be like milked like a cum cow or something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's so bad. Cum cow. I'm sorry. Alright guys, that's it for me today. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out some other videos from my channel. Also, if you want to support me and this channel, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. I post 2 long-form videos there every month. And one more thing, you guys have probably noticed that my background has been changing every week. That is because I am moving next weekend. So there will be no video next weekend, but I will be back the week after from my new place. That's right, I'm moving to the country and I am so excited. I will see you all in a couple of weeks, okay? I love you, goodbye.